Hello, thank you for watching. I'm Jared Hood. Today, going to do two topics. One, the Deshaun Watson situation, um, and the other one I'm going to do about the Nets getting James Harden. I'm probably not going to cover the trade, the details of the trade. If you care about the trade, you probably have already seen the details and dug into all that. So, really, I'm just going to talk about what they can do and their three guys, their big three. So, I've been pretty football heavy, so I want to, I do watch everything: football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer. I mean, I try to cover everything. So, and all my videos have been football so far. So, gonna start off with the Deshaun Watson situation. The reason I want to start off with that is because it's really rare that a 25-year-old elite quarterback, one of the best, in the league, is going to be on the trading block. It's just, I don't know. It's tough for me to see him actually getting traded on the basis of he's that good. I mean, you just don't let a guy like that go. My, he's trying to force his way out though. Very NBA like. We're about to get to the Nets one. We'll talk about that, but same kind of style, right? I mean, we don't get that often in the NFL, but basically in the NBA, the biggest names can tell a team that they don't want to play for them no more, and they can almost dictate where they're going too. Usually, so he's sort of trying to do that, and maybe he'll be successful. Not, I'll get into the particular what I think can happen with if he does get traded and who he might get traded to. But there's a guy named Jack Evie. I'm not a huge rumor person, okay? So, but I think this is significant. That's why I'm going to talk about this. This is kind of not really like up, and this is kind of, I guess, rumor. I don't know. It's the best way for me to put it. There's a guy named Jack Evie, Easterby, sorry, um, Esterby, Jack Esterby. He was with high up in the player personnel department for the Patriots about 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Worked closely with Bill Belichick. Got hired by the Texans to basically run their football operations. He hires Romeo Cornell. He hires Bill O'Brien. And then he just hired Nick Carstillo. Carcillo. I don't know how to say his name. Sorry, I apologize. But he was also with the Patriots. Longtime Patriot guy. Worked with Bill Belichick. He started in their scouting department, worked his way up. He was with some player direction, personnel stuff. He's their GM now in Houston. So Deshaun Watson was pretty upset because he had a couple people that he said they should hire for, or they should interview for the GM position, and they didn't interview him. He said a couple of coaches that he wanted to be interviewed, they didn't interview them. Because of that, he's now upset, and he's like, "Look, he did everything he could. They blew a huge lead in the playoffs against the Chiefs when they had them. And then the next year, Bill O'Brien, obviously the GM, sabotages Bill O'Brien, the coach, and the rest of the organization by trading the best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the league, but the best wide receiver they have by far, and they have some pretty good wide receivers, but for not a whole lot in return, right? And they've already traded all their draft picks away for an offensive lineman who's pretty good, but at the same time, you don't have a first round draft pick for a couple of years because of this. Now you're really bad. So everything is just down the tube. I understand why Deshaun Watson's upset. Andre Johnson doesn't like Esther B. Uh, from everything I read, doesn't sound like DeAndre Hopkins likes him either. So it's one of those things that, like, if everybody, that those are two of the top players ever in the organization. You can say those two, J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, it's hard to really say anybody's been better for their organization. Again, it's tough for me to see him get traded, but at the same time, it's the weirdest position I've ever seen for a football team in sport, or just in the sport. Like, they're in a pretty odd predicament, and trading him kind of also makes sense. As much as I'm super always against trading the 25-year-old quarterback who's elite, because it is easy to turn your franchise around usually, but they don't have everything you need for that quick turnaround. So, it sounds like a saving grace could be hiring Eric Bieniemy. I think it's a good hire either way. Whether you trade Sean Watson or not, you get Eric Bieniemy. You're getting that offense. You're getting a mind who's worked with Andy Reid, who I was just drooling over in the last video. I genuinely think Eric Bieniemy would be a good hire either way. But I think him and Deshaun Watson together, if they can get some talent, which they have some talent, but if they can get some more acquired, or I don't know, figure it out. I know it's going to be hard, but 3 years, 2 years from now, we'll see. But if that were to happen, so teams that could trade for him though. Obviously, the biggest rumor is Miami, right? So everyone's saying Tua and picks. I'm also hearing maybe Tua less picks than Xavier Howard. Pretty good deal. I mean, pretty good deal if you're the Texans. Not only do you probably get some of your picks back that you traded away to Miami, but you also get a couple of theirs also as well. So might might be pretty good. Like that's might be the biggest win in the sense of if you're looking for your picks back, right? To build through the draft. The other team I'm hearing fringe is the Jets, right? Because Sam Darnold's technically under contract for one more year. So then you could trade for Sam Darnold and a bunch of picks, or you could trade for Sam Darnold, some picks, and like Quentin Williams, right? Because again, the Jets are looking to try to rebuild. So you don't need. They're not going to trade you a ton of picks if you're trading those two. Those are two of their youngest, best assets, but they will trade you some picks. Now it really comes down to do you want control of a guy like Sam Darnold for 1 year? His ceiling might not be as high as Tua. You're going to have to make a quicker decision on him, but you can get out from under him quicker. So there's pluses and minuses there, right? With Tua, you have him for at least 2 more years, maybe three, under the rookie deal, plus all those picks. I think you're going pretty good either way. I like both quarterbacks. I think I like Tua a little more, but I think I like the Jets deal a little more in the sense of if you get the Jets pick this year, the Jets pick next year. If you can get Quinn Williams, that's huge too, right? I mean, he's a anchor on the D line. That probably helps J.J. Watt for a year or two. Um, Again, I probably wouldn't trade Deshaun Watson. Nothing sounds good. Nothing like not, maybe like I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to give me probably larger than both those offers for Deshaun Watson. He's that good, but we'll see. I'm interested. I think it's a big deal. I think it's pretty huge that that caliber of quarterback is on the market. Moving on to basketball. Um, One of the biggest trades in recent sports memory. James Harden just last week going to the Nets. So the reason I want to talk about this is because there's a lot of chatter about how will it work. James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. I don't think that it's going to not work. I look at it this way. So my first initial thought was, all right, you're looking at Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Both have won championships off the ball. Both good, great on-ball players. Like Kevin Durant, next world type top two player in the league. Maybe not two. I think he is, but you can argue that back and forth all day. He's super good, even coming off this ACL. You look at his numbers this year so far, super good. He's one of the best players in the NBA. Obviously, he's played pretty well off the ball, and you can figure out how to work him with the ball too enough that it gets him going. Right. All right. So I'm not worried about him either way. He's not going to be the guy taking the ball down 50% of the time. The guy you'd be worried about is Kyrie Irving or James Harden. Right. My thought with Kyrie Irving is if you can convince him to play a little more off the ball on the basis of while Harden played off the ball a bit and enough, um, Kyrie has won a championship playing off the ball, right? So more than not. So almost like go with what you know type thing. But here's the other thing: you start looking at the numbers, and like when Chris Paul was on the team, even Westbrook last year, the games where Harden has the highest usage rating you can think of, his numbers are same as his lowest usage rating. So with that said, the other two, their usage rating, the higher they are, the better they are. The lower the usage rating, the lower their shooting percentage is. Makes me think, maybe you can play around a little bit. Then you have some wiggle room. You can try Kyrie off the ball. We haven't seen Kyrie with them yet, but 2 games where it was just Harden and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant scored 42 in the first game. Harden scored 32. Probably going to win every single time if you get two of those three doing that, right? Again, Kyrie didn't play in either of these 2 games. Second game, Kevin Durant, I think, scored 30, and Harden scored 34. Probably going to win most games if you can get two of those guys in the 30s, and those two guys on the court together. It feels unstoppable. With Kyrie, it could feel super unstoppable. They're going to have to figure out some depth at center. I'm glad the Sixers didn't make the trade. I think that the Sixers can match up with them. Like, it's going to be hard. Okay, so Ben Simmons is covering one. Okay, one of the three. Thibault on one of the other two. And then who gets the other one. So that's it. It gets a little messy, but Harris maybe I don't know. I mean, you can't shut that down. You can't shut that down. I still think the Lakers are better than the Nets, but I think the Nets and Sixers are that close to each other. And as a Sixers fan, I'd hope to say the Sixers are better, but you got to get a little more offense. My guy Ben Simmons, who I was glad they didn't trade for, but I hope that doesn't come back to haunt us because his offense has been lacking a little bit this year. He took a shot the other day. People are trying to get on him. And I'm like, look, I don't care. He took the shot. He took the shot. I'm happy about it. But I think those three can work. I do think Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD can work. Everybody's on Kyrie right now. If you're the Nets, while that might have been frustrating over the last week or whatever, um, talk to them in March about how they feel about Kyrie Irving. That's really, I mean, like, we can overblow it all we want right now, but if he's balling out in March and they're dominating everybody they play and they look unstoppable, ask them how they feel then. So we'll see going forward. Again, as a Sixers fan, I'm rooting for the Sixers to be much better than them, but I don't know. I think the Lakers are, but I don't know how the Sixers are going to be. I'm excited for the matchups though going forward. I'll definitely talk some more sports. Definitely going to do a preview of the NFL weekend coming up. Eagles got to make a coaching hire. I'm sure I'll do some Eagles talk eventually. I keep saying that, but I haven't. But we'll get there. So, anything you want to talk about? Any criticism? Any good thing? Any topics you think you might want to hear me talk about? Anything you agree with me or disagree with me on? Let me know. So I'd love to hear it. Like, comment, share. Thank you for watching. If you are still watching, I appreciate you. So, Jared, thank you.